Imagine this. Someone studies English for years, memorizes vocabulary, passes exams, but the moment they need to speak, their mind goes blank. This is the reality for millions of learners around the world. They can understand English, they can read it, they can write it, but when it comes to speaking, it feels slow, awkward, and unnatural. And it's not because they're bad at English, it's because fluency requires a different kind of practice. So, what can actually help? The good news is fluency doesn't need years of study. It needs daily habits that train the brain to think and speak in English. Let's look at 8 simple habits anyone can start today. Speak a little every day. Think about how children learn their first language. They don't sit down with a grammar book or wait until they know the rules perfectly. They just speak a little bit every single day. And over time, it becomes natural. For English learners, the same rule applies. Even 5 minutes of speaking, talking to a friend, practicing with an app, or simply describing what you're doing out loud trains the brain to get comfortable producing English. For example, you might describe your morning routine. I'm boiling water for coffee, or I'm taking the bus to work. These little sentences may seem simple, but saying them every day adds up. It's not about long study sessions. It's about daily practice. The more often you use English, the less scary it feels when it's time to talk. Think in English. One big reason learners get stuck is because they always translate in their head. First, they think in their own language, then try to turn it into English, and by the time they find the right words, the conversation has already moved on. A simple shift can change this. Start thinking directly in English. Look at a cup of coffee and say to yourself, "This coffee is hot," or notice the weather and think, "It's raining today." You can even do this while walking outside. Instead of thinking in your own language, say in your mind, "I'm going to the store." These short, simple thoughts train the brain to process English naturally. Over time, you'll notice that when someone asks you a question, your response comes out automatically without translating first. The more often you do this, the less you'll need to translate, and the faster your words will come when you speak. Shadow native speakers. Have you ever noticed how singers learn by imitating the rhythm and melody of a song? Language works the same way. One of the fastest ways to sound more natural in English is by shadowing. That means listening to a native speaker and repeating their words at the same speed and rhythm. It could be a short movie clip, a podcast, or even a YouTube video. Don't just copy the words. Copy the tone, the pauses, the music of their voice. At first, it might feel strange, but soon your mouth and ears get used to the flow of English. It's like training your brain and your tongue at the same time. Use everyday English, not just textbook words. Many learners know advanced vocabulary from books, but when it's time for real conversation, they freeze. Because real-life English isn't built on fancy words. It's built on everyday phrases. Imagine this. You're at a restaurant, and the waiter asks, "What would you like?" You don't need a complex sentence. A simple phrase like, "Can I get a grilled chicken salad, please?" is exactly what native speakers say. Or when your friend suggests something, you can respond naturally with, "That sounds good." So how can you learn real English? Listen to how people actually speak. Watch short clips from movies, YouTube videos, or interviews not to memorize grammar, but to notice the expressions people use again and again. Then repeat them out loud. Use them when you order food, send a message, or talk to a friend online. These short expressions are the real foundation of fluent English. Once you start using the language you actually hear in daily life, you'll realize fluency doesn't come from big words. It comes from real ones. Real English is about communication, not complication. Record yourself speaking. Most learners don't realize how powerful this simple habit is. When you speak out loud, it feels fine, but when you record and play it back, you hear things you never noticed before. Maybe the sentences are too short, maybe the pauses are too long, or maybe certain words don't sound clear. Recording yourself for just 1 or 2 minutes a day is like holding up a mirror to your English. It shows you where you're improving and where you need to practice. Over time, you'll hear real progress, and that's one of the best motivators to keep going. Join real conversations. Fluency doesn't grow in silence. It grows in real, sometimes messy conversations. Reading books or watching movies helps, but it's not the same as actually talking to someone. The good news is, today there are countless apps and platforms where learners can speak with people around the world, from language exchange partners to online speaking clubs. At first, it might feel awkward, words may come slowly, mistakes will happen. But that's exactly how the brain learns to respond faster. Every real conversation is like a workout for your English muscles, and the more you do it, the stronger your fluency becomes. Set small speaking challenges. Big goals like become fluent can feel impossible and overwhelming. That's why small, practical challenges work much better. Imagine deciding, this week I'll order food in English, or I'll introduce myself to one new person online. These little challenges push learners to use English in real situations without waiting for the perfect time. Each success builds confidence, and step by step, speaking English starts to feel natural. It's like climbing a mountain one small step at a time. You don't notice the height until you look back and see how far you've come. Let go of perfectionism. One of the biggest blocks to fluency is the fear of making mistakes. Many learners wait until their grammar is perfect or their vocabulary is huge before speaking, but that moment never comes. The truth is, native speakers don't speak perfectly either. They pause, they repeat themselves, they even make grammar slips. Fluency is about being understood, not about being flawless. Once learners stop chasing perfection and focus on clear communication, speaking becomes easier, faster, and much more natural. So remember, fluency isn't about years of study. It's about daily habits. If these habits become part of daily life, English will slowly stop feeling like a subject to study and start feeling like a language you live in. Now it's your turn. Choose just one of these habits and start today. Which one will you try first? Share it in the comments and let's grow together.